Hello again everybody, welcome back to the channel. I am on the hunt for some nightscape photography subject matter around here. Now it's summer now here in Australia, so the weather's getting quite hot and it's very warm here today, so I've got to get moving, get out of this sun. But I'm back here at a favourite location, and what I'm looking for is to shoot some constellations that are around here in the southern hemisphere summer sky, Orion being the major one that a lot of us like to shoot. And so this subject here I've been to before, but I've only ever shot the Milky Way galactic core here, and of course that's gone now, so I've got to come up with some alternate plans, and I've got an idea to perhaps go over to the other side, face more towards the northeast and get a composition that way. So let's go and have a look and see if we can make this work. Alright, so this is a view that I've never shot here at this location before. So I'm facing more towards the northeast. And look, it's a great view except for the trees here in the foreground. You can't see them yet, but right here and here there are trees. So I've got to somehow squeeze a composition in that can face the right direction. But I think I can do it using a fairly wide angle lens, get closer to the subject. One of the advantages here, because it's such a big subject, then I can get my tripod up nice and high, and that always makes an easier composition. So I might have to shoot a panorama, but I'm not sure about that. I might shoot, sometimes I like to shoot maybe even a 2 or a 3 shot pano, which is not really looking the final product as a panorama at all, but it gives me more flexibility in getting more real estate in when I'm actually here shooting in the field. So it takes me back to something that I like to say about shooting all the time. Whenever you're on location looking for a subject to shoot, always have in the back of your mind, now how am I going to do the edit of this image? How am I going to get it to make it work for my original vision for the image? Because what I'm thinking of doing here is doing a tracked sky shot. And I'll probably do that tracking around the other side of the building because I've got a clear view of the sky around that side. And that's going to make the blending of that tracked sky image a lot easier to put into the foreground here. So I'm thinking about all of these things as I go. My go-to lens will be the 20mm f1.8 Nikon Z lens. There's a chance I might use a 16mm Viltrox, but we'll just have to wait and see. That'll give me more real estate, but the problem is with buildings like this, what happens is the edges will lean into the frame. So what's nice and straight here now will have this lean in view. So I've got to give myself enough width so that I can do some correction to bring those walls back to a level again. Now this is never a problem when you're shooting landscapes, trees, you know, things like that, because none of those are straight up and down, but this building is, so I've got to be wary of that. All right, well I think this is going to be a pretty good subject. I know this place pretty well, and because I've shot here before, it makes it a bit easier for me to do the planning. But you know, this wasn't my original destination. I've been driving around the paddocks here in this district looking for those hay bales that have been harvested and left to lie out in the paddocks. Now there's plenty of them around further south from here, but I've come up here and I'm finding it hard to find any. So I'm going to keep looking to see if I can do another shot on the same night tonight of that composition as well. I think it's because I'm a bit further north here. It's a bit drier up here and maybe they just haven't got around to doing it yet. I'm not too sure. But anyway, I'm going to jump in the car and go looking. Definitely coming back here, but I'm going to have a look around this district because I don't want to drive too far to fit more than one destination into my journey. All right, so you can see here in the background some hay bales in the paddock. This has been extremely difficult to find something around. I don't know why, maybe all the farmers are putting these in sheds. But anyway, I've found a paddock here which I think I can access. There's a barbed wire fence with electric fence, so I won't go inside. I'll just shoot that from outside here on the road. So I suppose the really good thing about this location is that it is so close to the road. So it's facing exactly in the right direction. There's big sweeping open plain here. So I've got plenty of room to be able to shoot around in whatever direction I need to. So speaking of the road, I think I'd better get off the road. There's some cars coming. All right, so I've pretty much seen all I need to. It's getting really hot out here. I'm going to go home, shelter up, get ready to come back out here tonight. So I'll see you back out later on tonight. All right, well, as you can see, we've made our way back out to the church. It's quite a blustery night. I'm not happy about the wind, but there's probably very little I can do about that, so I'm just going to persist. There's a lot of trees around here, which will probably block the wind from hitting me over near the church there. When I come around this side to shoot my tracked sky, it might be a little bit different, but I'll just have to wait and see how that goes. Anyway, I'm going to go in, take my stuff in, set up. The sky is looking absolutely beautiful, clear as a bell, not a cloud anywhere in the sky. By the way, it's a very dark sky location here. I would estimate, just looking around, it's probably around about a Bortle 2 to Bortle 3 sky. Bit of a glow down to the south and the west, but I'm not shooting that direction. And very little out towards the east, which is where I'm shooting, so that is good. All right, I'm just going to get my stuff together and we'll get in there and start shooting. All right, so if you have a look there behind me, you can see perfect alignment. We've got Orion above the church on the angle that I was hoping to get. So it's working out perfectly the way that I wanted it to. Over to this side, you've got Jupiter, the planet up there, and we've got Sirius up this side. So the beautiful constellation of stars. The tail of the Milky Way sort of comes across this way from the south. So the Milky Way galactic core is setting over in the west. It's down below the horizon now at this time of year. So I've got my camera set up here on a pretty high tripod. This is my Nikon Z6 Mark II Astro modified hydrogen alpha camera and 20mm f1.8 lens. Now I can get the whole of the church in at 20mm focal length. There will be a little bit of distortion just simply because that's what you get. I'm looking up a little bit too, so I may actually shoot a couple of frames side by side to create a small panorama. But either way, what I'm going to do here is shoot some background sky images, and then I am going to light paint the foreground. So if I do a panorama, that makes it a little bit more complicated with that. It's just simply because I've got to do different frames, but I will stop down the aperture a little bit. The church is well and truly at infinity focus where it is there now, because it's, oh gee, it's probably 25 meters away from the camera. So it's well and truly infinity. So it's going to be not a problem for that. But anyway, I'm going to get to work. It's still windy, unfortunately, pretty warm. It's probably about 18 degrees here Celsius at the moment. So I'm going to get going, see if I can capture this first image. Okay, well, I've taken quite a number of images here, single framing, also a little bit of panorama. I'm not quite sure which is going to work out the best, but I'm very happy with what I've got here. It's quite a difficult subject to shoot because there's a lot of trees on the edges here. And anyway, I'm going to set up the tracker now over the other side, near the fence over there. I'm going to shoot that now. I'm going to be shooting stacked shots. So with Orion, often you will need a little bit more signal. So I'm going to be pushing a little bit harder compared to what I would do with the Milky Way galactic core. Anyway, I'll go and do that and see what we can come up with. Okay, so you can see here I've got the tracker set up and I've just been shooting around. Orion's up here, but I've been shooting around towards the south, Southern Cross in the background over there. Absolutely beautiful constellation here in the southern hemisphere, rising up, and it's pretty windy. So I've chosen today to use the Skywatcher Star Adventurer Mini, probably because it's a little bit more solid than mount as far as that goes. A bit of wind around and I'm not happy about that, but I'm just looking at the pictures that I've taken and I'm actually really happy. So what I'm shooting here, this is the Nikon Z6 Mark II with the H alpha modification, Astro modded camera. And I'm shooting with the 20mm f1.8, the same as I was back there. And I'm shooting 60-second shutter speeds. Remember, it's on a tracker, f2.8 at ISO 1600. And I don't want to go any longer than 1 minute, mainly because of the wind and also time. I shot 10 images of Orion up here and the constellation around that. It's kind of going to stack those. And then I did a bit of a pano sort of to match up with what I shot back there. So I did some light painting back there with a couple of different methods. I used a bit of low level lighting because I did a bit of a pano, and I also used my torch, my standard light painting method. So I stopped down the aperture a little bit. And look, I'm happy with how these are looking. Look, I'll give you a look at these images now and just see what you guys think. All right, well, I'm really happy with how this tracking is going. I've got everything that I need, so I'm going to pack up. Look, it's getting late. It's getting quite cold too. Let's just have a look at what time it is. 12:57. Man, oh man, I still haven't got to those hay bales. It's going to be a late one. Boy, oh boy. All right, I better get snappy, Tom. I'll see you guys when I get there. Well, I made it back to where the hay bales are. You can see there's one there in the background, but I reckon the farmers moved them away because when I was here the other day, there was heaps more. So it's only a pretty average composition now. But anyway, I've taken a photo there. Also, there's a railway line just over here, so I had a bit of a go at just shooting up the railway line, and I tried it in both directions, facing towards the south and more towards the north. So we'll just see what I can come up with there. But anyway, look, it's really, really late, so I think I just might get going. I appreciate you guys hanging around. I'll show you these final images here, and until I see you in the next video, have a great week. I'll see you then.